Ow! Okay, here we go to test these out. These are black powder and BBs in the Maverick 88 12 gauge pump shotgun. So we're going to see how a modern shotgun does with a black powder shell. Okay, I made a pretty light load, so they wasn't bad. And as I've already explained how I make them, I haven't checked, I didn't bring much out here today to check the pattern of this particular load out of this particular shotgun. This was more of a test to see how it makes things dirty and whatever. So anyway, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna drop the barrel and take a look through it and see what the barrel looks like. Gun's empty, magazine's empty. So let's see what we got going on. Ooh, I can already see the muzzle. It's kind of, it's pretty dirty. Oh yeah, there ain't no more shine in there. Let's see if I can get it in there for you to see. You see how it's just all black down in there. No additional shine, and that was just 4 shells. All right. Just wrote on there what it is, so I know BP, BB, black powder and BB. 1, 2, 3. That was black powder and buck. It's kind of an older one. There's another black powder and BB. All right, let's go shoot these. I forgot to put my ears on. Ow! All right, so we've shot those first 4. We looked at the barrel. We shot 5 more now, so it's a total of 9. So let's break it back down again and take a look at the receiver. We'll look inside the receiver, the bolt face, and check how that's doing in there. So again, barrel's empty, mag's empty. Got the bolt about halfway back. Take the tension off. Let's get this barrel off of here. There's no need to look in the barrel again because we already know that that's looking pretty rough. So okay, let me wipe my fingers off. All the little digits are fairly clean. So run the bolt back up. First, I'm gonna take my index finger and I'm pinching the bolt over here so I won't shove it back in there. Rubbing around on it. Got a little gunk on the bolt face. All right, run it back. Shove the pinky, just smear it around on the receiver a little bit. How we're looking? Got a little bit, but I mean, you get a little bit of that just from shooting smokeless powder too. But all right, so we're gonna definitely have to give that a good cleaning. What I do when I shoot black powder through the old single shot, and this one is an H&R Harrington and Richardson Topper Model 88 12 gauge modified choke. What I do for this is I'll take the barrel off after I've been shooting black powder. I'll take the barrel off and I'll boil up some hot water and pour water through there. Man, that water cleans it out good. Dry it out, and then oil everything. Same thing, wipe everything down inside the receiver, where your firing pin comes out of the receiver and everything. Just clean it all up. I've done that for years, and I've never had a problem shooting black powder shells out of single shots. So today was the first time I've ever shot them out of a pump. And again, I don't know if I mentioned it. There was not a lot of information out there on shooting black powder through pump shotguns. There's just not a lot of information out there. And the question always comes up when I've talked to other people is, why would you want to shoot black powder in a modern firearm to begin with? And it's, number one, it's just fun. It's fun to play around with different options. You can make your own black powder. I used to do that to make my own. You know, you can make your own projectiles, whether it's buckshot, slug, or ball. And it's just fun to come up with different things. And so it's also fun to try it out in different weapons. Not for any sort of future zombie apocalypse thing, although, I mean, that is an option. But used to black powder was extremely cheap. I mean, you could pick up a pound of black powder in Walmart for $10 or $11. Them days are long gone. Black powder is almost just expensive as a pound of smokeless powder. So what's the point? But other than the versatility, I mean, there's no other benefit. I mean, you could take black powder and a single shot like this one, and I've got a few of these. You can take black powder and you can muzzle load these guys, just like an old musket. So you can't do that with smokeless powder, and I wouldn't try to do that. But anyway, so that's the reason I wanted to come out and play around with the black powder shells and the pump shotgun. Okay, for muzzle loading your single shot, whether it's a Stevens, H&R, New England Firearms, or whatever, you can, from various companies, purchase 209 shotgun adapters. And they look very similar to this, where you drop open your barrel, you put the adapter in, close it, muzzle load it, and pop in your primer, and now you're ready to go with whatever load you have on board. I don't have a 209 adapter from Short Lane Arms, so I've always just made my own out of brass shotgun shells, drill out the bottom to take a 209 primer, and do what you got to do. All right, I'll show you what I do. I don't know whether this is the right way. I know it's not the only way. There's never just one way to do something. There's just multiple ways. This is the way I do it. I don't recommend anybody do things this way. Again, just me. I don't know if I've already mentioned, but Short Lane Arms makes a 209 shotgun primer adapter that looks very similar to this, that you drop in your barrel. You give your single shot to turn. This is so you can turn your single shot shotgun into a muzzle loader, where you'll put the Short Lane adapter in, close it, muzzle load it, put your primer in, and you're ready to go. Or another way you can do it, this is an old brass shotgun shell that I drilled out the primer pocket, because they take large rifle or large pistol primers. I drilled it out to accept a 209 primer, and serves the same function. Or if you put a new primer in a spent hole, you can cut the plastic off, and you're left with something very similar to this that serves the same purpose, to drop that in there, and there's your primer. When I am muzzle loading, I never muzzle load with it like this up against me, where I'm looking down the barrel. I always do it away from me, just in case something happens. I'm not pounding on the things hard. I'll push my powder in. I might give it a little tap. Same thing with the shot, might give a little tap, but I'm not just pounding away like an old musket. So I didn't come up with this idea, but I got a copper pipe using a powder measure. I use, well, this particular one is 85 grains. When it's level, it's 85 grains. Just a copper pipe that I smashed it down. I heated it up with the propane torch and then smashed it down, and I drilled a hole in it. And if I'm squirrel hunting or whatever and muzzle loading, doing that just for fun, I wear it on a little 550 cord or bank line or whatever around my neck, so that I have this. And I use square loads, which is the same amount of shot and powder by volume, not by weight. Even though black powder, you use the same terms as smokeless powder of grains, the grain in black powder is by volume. I use a square load, which is the same load of powder and shot. They're identical. This one happens to be 85. That's what I've settled on. I've got another one that's 100. I think I've got one that's even 90, but I prefer the 85. A good starting place is the caliber of your shotgun. So 12 gauge is 70, 71 caliber. 20 gauge, I think, is 60 caliber. That's a good starting place. Start with 70 and work your way up and find what you like and what your gun likes. Me, I just settled on 85. It's not a heavy load. It's the same load. Where's my black powder shells? That's the same load that I put in my black powder. That's just 85. I put a new primer in it. 85 grains of black powder. Wax paper. I shove wax paper on top of it. Tear some up, wad it up. Stick it in the shell. My shot. Might put an overshot card on it, and then either I'll crimp it either in the press, or I'll roll crimp it. I'm doing the same thing, the exact same thing, but loading it into the barrel. That's the way I do it. Pyrodex RS. I'm trying to do this all in one shot, no pun intended. So you see there's no trickery. And if I'm hunting, I've just got a wad of this in either my gun bag or in my pocket. Sometimes I go ahead and pre-tear a strip. Sometimes I don't. It just kind of depends. So strip. Tell me what size this dowel rod is. This is a 5/8 by 36 inch dowel rod I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm not putting my hand here in case for some reason this column were to go off. I'm holding it here. So the bottom of my hand might get a little burnt, but hopefully nothing more than that. I'm just packing it down in good. Now, for this load, I'm shooting just regular BBs. Thing about BBs, unlike lead, when lead hits your target, it'll flatten. If it's soft lead, it gets flat. BBs don't smash. BBs will bounce back. So if you're doing this, make sure you're not shooting at anything that will ricochet. Dump that in there. It gets another wad of wax paper. If you don't have a dowel rod, a lot of guys cut limbs. All right, that puppy's ready to go. Put my ears on this time. Let's take the camera. I gotta figure out how to do this tripod. Keep the gun in the shot the whole time. All right. Now, this gun has an ejector, and if whatever's in there doesn't eject, just take my dowel rod, punch it out. with the short lane arm 209 primer adapter, or this one, you could just reach in with your fingernail and pop the primer out, which this is my preferred method. But since this has an automatic ejector, I'll put my hand over it so it doesn't pop out when I break the barrel open, and I can just take the primer out that way. Okay, we're gonna finish this video up. We'll shoot some more black powder out of this Mossberg Maverick 88. Again, I didn't bring a lot of them, so we'll just shoot what we got. This is black powder and BBs. He goes in the tube. BB, black powder and buck, another old shell. BB, 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 another BBs. Maybe because BBs are cheap. And the second shot will be buck. Now, a lot of people ask, or going to ask, or potentially may wonder, why I'm using wax paper in these shells and when I muzzle load. I've tried a bunch of different stuff. Wool. I bought a bag of, wool for like trapping that you would put in your traps, and that works okay. It was just kind of dirty and had maggots and all kinds of stuff in it. So wax paper, you can use regular parchment paper, but then what you're left with on the ground is a bunch of little burning pieces of paper. But with wax paper, it doesn't burn like that, so I'm comfortable going out into the woods and blasting away at tree chickens and not burning the woods down. So, all right, we got this little guy loaded up. Let's finish this video with some smoke. Actually, I'll put you on the other side. All right, here we go. Got my ears on this time. One more. Black powder shells and a Mossberg Maverick 88. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below.